Before I head out hunting tonight, I want to do a quick shout out to the customer service department of Envision Optics, particularly Chris Lampert, I hope I'm saying that right, for helping me with an issue that I had on here. So the problem was I recorded a ton of videos on my thermal device and I was down to about 3% memory. So I went ahead and went through the process. I read the instruction manual. They have a really quick shout out manual on how to do things on here. Connected the cable internally. I really like this heavy plastic and how it's hidden in there. Connected it to my laptop. I took all the files from here, dragged it onto my MacBook, and at this point it looked like all the files were deleted. But when I disconnected the cable and got back behind the thermal, it was only reading that I still had 3% memory, and I'm like, wait a minute. I deleted those files, or at least I dragged the files off of there, and I couldn't see them when I connected it back onto there. I couldn't see those files. And so I got onto the manual, and it's really not written in here, but there's also an advanced manual that you can find online. And what it says is that there's an internal way to delete all of your files on the thermal itself. And I went through that process. If I'm breathing hard, I apologize. I'm recovering from COVID, and I had asthma as a kid. And so my breathing is still delayed, but I'm having to fight it. Like the doctor says, you've got to get moving, you got to keep moving around. And so that's why my breathing is really delayed right now. But anyways, I dragged all the memory off of there, and so I wrote an email to Envision Optics, just a general email to their customer service around 7:45 that morning. At 8:30, I got an email back from Chris Lampert who said, call me, we're gonna fix this. In the email, I explained step by step everything that I did, and even internally how I thought I deleted the memory internally through the instructions that he told me. And I told him step by step on how I did it, and he said, you know what, that should be working, but it's not deleting, and it was still reading 3% memory. And so he said, let me talk to my tech department, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So 45 minutes later, he calls back, and he says, I think we're doing everything right. Let me walk you through one more process. And so we did all of it. We reconnected it, tried to drag it through there. He was asking information, and he actually booted into my system. He took control of it and ran everything himself. Like he was remoting in and making sure that the steps were being done properly. And he couldn't see it either. And when I disconnected it again, it was still only reading 3%. So we went through the process of trying to delete it internally on the system again, and it would not solve the problem. And so he went ahead and wrote me up an RMA. So now it's only about not 9:15 at the latest. So by the time I sent an email that morning, by 9:15, he was like, I've got an RMA number if this doesn't work. When you're ready to send in your thermal, I know you're still trying to hunt, whatever that may be, just get it back to us and we'll fix the problem. And so I didn't want to be without a thermal. But so what I did is I did a lot of research online to figure out what is going on here. And this only applies to MacBooks and iOS systems. There's a file called a FAT32, a FAT32 file. And what that does is it ghosts your files on your device so you can't see it on your MacBook. And the way that I solved the problem, at least what I read, is to reconnect everything the way it was. But before disconnecting it from the unit or turning the off button, which will disconnect it from the unit itself, is to go straight into your trash. Look at that, Pappy. While it's connected and on, go to your trash here, and then just simply empty it. And that absolutely fixed the problem. So I sent an email explaining to him how I solved the problem. He was really thankful. I'm really thankful. But the coolest thing is within an hour and a half of the company being open, they're willing to get this problem resolved. So quick shout out again to the guys at Envision Optics and their awesome customer service. Really excited to work with these guys, and hopefully we'll get a big down on the ground. Stay tuned.